You've heard this story 100 times. An old woman spills a cup of McDonald's coffee in her lap, sues the company for millions, and walks away rich. For 3 decades, it has been the punchline, the go-to example of everything wrong with the legal system. It was mocked on Seinfeld. It was quoted by politicians. It became the symbol of the greedy, frivolous lawsuit. There is just one problem. Almost every single thing you think you know about this case is wrong. And once you hear the real story, you will never tell the joke again. This is Liebeck versus McDonald's. First, forget the image of a scheming opportunist. Stella Liebeck was 79 years old, a retired department store clerk from Albuquerque, New Mexico. She had never sued anyone in her life. She wasn't looking for a payday. She was a passenger in her grandson's car on an ordinary February morning in 1992, holding a 49-cent cup of coffee. The car was parked. It wasn't even moving. She placed the cup between her knees to add cream and sugar, and in 1 second, her life changed forever. Here is where every joke dies. Most people picture a little redness, a minor scald. The reality is something out of a nightmare. McDonald's served its coffee at 180 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. To put that in perspective, coffee brewed at home is usually around 140 degrees. At 190 degrees, liquid causes third-degree burns, burning through every layer of skin in 2 to 7 seconds. When that cup emptied into Stella's lap, it did exactly that. She suffered third-degree burns across 6% of her body. She was hospitalized for 8 days. She needed skin grafts. She lost 20 pounds while she fought to recover. The trial photographs were so disturbing that jurors said they never forgot them. And now the detail that destroys the entire myth. Stella never wanted to go to court. She wrote McDonald's a simple letter. She asked them to cover her medical costs, roughly $11,000, and, more importantly, to look at the temperature of their coffee so this wouldn't happen to someone else. That was it. No demand for millions, no lawsuit. McDonald's response? They offered her $800. $800 against $11,000 in medical bills and months of agony. Only after that did Stella reluctantly find a lawyer. Because here is the part McDonald's desperately did not want a jury to hear. This was not a freak accident. In the 10 years before Stella's burn, McDonald's had received more than 700 reports of people burned by its coffee. 700, including children, including other third-degree burns. The company had already quietly settled some of these claims for over $500,000. They knew their coffee was injuring people. And during the trial, their own quality control manager took the stand and admitted it. He admitted the coffee was a hazard at that temperature. And he admitted the company had no intention of lowering it and no plans to warn customers. The jury wasn't disgusted by the spill. They were disgusted by the shrug. So the jury made a decision. For Stella's suffering, they awarded $200,000 in compensation, then reduced it to $160,000, because they decided she was 20% responsible. But they wanted to send the corporation a message it couldn't ignore. So they added punitive damages of $2.7 million. That number sounds insane until you learn where it came from. It was roughly what McDonald's earned from coffee sales in just 2 days. To them, it was a rounding error. And it never stuck anyway. The judge slashed it down to $480,000. And the final amount Stella actually received, settled quietly out of court, was reportedly even less, a fraction of the millions everyone remembers. So if that's the truth, why does the whole world believe a lie? This is the most important part. After the verdict, the case became a weapon. Groups pushing to limit lawsuits, many funded by large corporations, seized on it. They stripped away the third-degree burns, the skin grafts, the 700 warnings, the $800 offer. They left only a cartoon, a clumsy woman, a hot drink, and a jackpot. They repeated that cartoon in ads, in speeches, on talk shows for years, until the punchline replaced the facts in millions of minds. It was one of the most successful public relations campaigns in modern history. And you were the target. The real Liebeck case was never about a greedy woman or a frivolous lawsuit. It was about a corporation that had hurt hundreds of people, that knew it, and that decided a few hundred burns were simply cheaper than a colder cup of coffee. Until 12 ordinary people in a jury box decided that wasn't acceptable. Stella Liebeck didn't want to be a symbol. She just didn't want it to happen to anyone else. So the next time someone laughs about the woman who sued over hot coffee, you can tell them what really happened. And if you want more famous cases where the truth is nothing like the headline, where everything you thought you knew turns out to be wrong, subscribe to the Gavel Files. Believe me, there are a lot of them. Court is adjourned.